Hello everybody. We're going to try here a solitaire game of Questeros, which in the rulebook is called Hero's Quest. For those of you previewers and reviewers that might be giving this solitaire game a try, I hope you like this playthrough to show you kind of how all the cards and mechanisms work together. So the solitaire game, Hero's Quest, is outlined in the rulebook. It's got its own section of pages. Hero's Quest. There's a setup here. You can see mine is just slightly different just due to the spacing that I have on the table. But otherwise, the way it'll work is you'll put Hero, the Jester, in the center of the table. He's the no-value quest card. The rest of the quest cards, which are numbered 1 through 21, will be stacked in numerical sequence on the table with the Warlock on the top and the Dragon on the bottom. Your ultimate goal is to defeat the Dragon in combat, with some support, of course, by other people that you find along your quest or your journey. The Jester, of course, represents the Fool in traditional tarot decks, and it's known as the Fool's Journey in that philosophy as he goes through and encounters the whole deck and sequence of major arcana in a tarot deck. But I'm veering off focus here. So what is Hero equipped with? He's equipped with the One of Blades, so he has a small dagger. You can see it in his hand. That's his start to the world on his quest. And he has 3 pieces of currency. We call them orbs. So he's got the 1, 2, and 3 of orbs on his left side. And then down below you can see his health. So we grab the 1 through 10 of cups, and we put them all in a single stack underneath him, and that'll be his health for the game. And then hiding underneath Hero, he hasn't unlocked this potential yet, but he's going to discover that he has magical talent. But as of right now, it doesn't exist. So we put the 1 of staves below the Jester, below Hero. The rulebook itself, you may need to refer to when you play. We'll touch base on a couple of the things in there. And then the remainder of the deck is all of the other basic cards that are not put on the table. So all the cups, staves, orbs, and blades that are not used in the initial setup are shuffled together into this deck. We shuffle them up at random. Show you we're going to do a purely random gameplay session. And once they're randomized, you would set them down to the left of Hero. All right, the other thing we have here are the encounter cards, and there's 2 of them. Their numbers go from 1 to 5, 6 to 10, 11 to 15, and 16 to 20, and they all refer directly to the quest cards in the quest deck here. Now keep in mind, you will not win every game of this that you play. Most solo games should be a bit of a challenge, and I lose quite frequently, with the goal being to improve over time and figure out a strategy that could work on some occasions. In addition, I wanted to outline that the score pad that's used for multiplayer games can actually correlate to the solo game as well, in that there are 7 lines that allow for 7 rounds of play in the traditional multiplayer game. And in Hero's Quest, each turn you get 7 actions that you can take. So those actions can be numbered 1 through 7, and we could actually check off them as we go if we wanted to, if you want a more physical way to keep track of what you've done in a turn. But otherwise, you can keep track mentally fairly easily. The initiative token is not used in this game. I'm deciding if there's a way I want to introduce it, but as of this point, I've decided no. All right, and so the way the game starts is you draw 5 cards at random, and this becomes your initial hand. So you'll hold this in your hand as you play, or you could, if you have a big table, you could put it face up on the table. For us, we're going to hold it in our hand. And normally what I like to do is to sequence them by suit and then by numbers, just to see what I have here. So we strangely have the 12, 13, and 14 of staves, which actually is not very helpful this early in the game. And then we have the 5 and 7, 5 of orbs, 7 of staves. So that's our opening hand. Let me outline what you can do in a turn. So in gameplay, you've got 7 different turn actions. The first one is to develop. To develop, what you would need is the next number of your blade, your orb, or your magic once you have it. And so once I have the next number, kind of like in solitaire, then I could play it on top of the stack. So if I did have the 2 of blades in my hand, I could use the develop action to play down the 2 of blades. And then on another turn, I could lay down a 3 or the 4. So that develop action is the most important action in the game to build up your ability in the game, whether it's your currency to be able to purchase new cards, or bribe certain creatures, whether it's your swords to fight, your magic that you develop. You cannot develop your health, but you can heal it because just the 11 to 14 are in the deck. So that is the develop action. You can do that once a turn. There is something called a bonus develop action, and that's if you ever draw cards in the game outside of the learning aspect. If you draw cards, you can play a bonus develop action. And so some cards that let you draw include the Necromancer, the Centaur, and purchasing cards. Okay, next action is purchasing. So what you would do is you would use a coin card, such as a 1 or 2 or 3 of coins, and you would draw that many cards, and then you would put one of them into your hand and the rest on the bottom of the deck. In this case, the 2 and 3 would allow me to draw 2 cards, pick one and put one on the bottom, or draw 3 cards, pick one and put one on the bottom. But each time you use an orb card, you must rotate it 90 degrees, and then you can't use it again unless you recover that card. So they're important to use, but you cannot reuse cards you've already rotated. All right, the next action we have is to forget. So if I want to forget, what I would do is I would take any number of cards from my hand and I would actually choose to put them directly into the discard pile. So let's say I think that these cards here are not going to suit me very well at this early in the game. I would put them to the side of the deck, I'd forget them, and they would be gone until the deck gets recycled, which is about halfway through the game. You might wonder, why would you want to forget? Well, little Eero's brain can only fit so much in it, and so he needs to forget things in order to learn more. And the next step happens to be learning. So to learn, you draw cards until you have 5 cards in your hand. So in this case, I would draw 3 cards to bring myself up to 5 cards. 1, 2, 3. So now I've got 5 cards in my hand, so I've relearned now after I've forgotten. Now, your deck is a limited resource. If you ever run out of deck, there's a chance that you could lose the game if anything makes you draw cards after that fact. And so you have to be cautious and understand what your next encounters are and whether you can meet their criteria, whether they're going to cause you to lose cards from your deck. And there is one point in the game where you reshuffle your discard pile into your deck, and then once you get to a certain point, the deck no longer matters. But timing is everything for that. So that is the learning mechanic. The next one is the encounter mechanic. So the way the encounter works is that whatever the face-up or next quest card is, in this case the Warlock, you would read their power or their requirement and see if you can meet them. You do not have to you don't have to face an encounter every turn of play. You can actually skip this step. You can skip any of those steps and go right to the rest phase. But the encounter phase says, for example, on the Warlock, place 1 to 4 cards of different types underneath the Warlock, then set him and those cards aside. So what I could do, they have to be different types. I could give him a blade, I could give him a stave, I could give him a cup, and I could give him an orb. Now the 5 orbs is a low number, and I think I could get that into play, so I think I'm going to keep that. And I'm going to actually do the encounter right now, and I'm going to give that Warlock these 3 cards. Now if you played the game before, you know you might have a chance at getting those back, but it might not be for a while. So we're going to set the Warlock just outside. You can see him up there. I'll just keep him tucked up there. And so he's taken those 3 cards from me. So an encounter you can only do once per turn as well. The next step is called a recover. This lets you destroy an 11 to 14 card from your hand in order to recover or unuse a card that you've used previously. So let's say, for example, I had instead of a 13 of staves, maybe this was a 13 of cups. Either way, what you do is any cards that are numbered 11 or higher, you add the 2 numbers together to form a different number. So 1 and 3 is 4. I could recover any card of 4 or less of the matching suit. So this 13 of staves could do a staves. If it was an orb, I could recover a 4, 3, 2, or 1 of orbs, but I'd have to actually remove that card from the game. And when you remove a card from the game, of course, it won't go back into the discard pile, so it keeps your deck a little bit lighter. So that'll be important when you use some of your most important blade or magic cards, or even if you do a purchase and you want to get that card back. And then the last action is to rest. You end the turn, you must take a card from the top of the draw pile, or the deck, and place it into the discard pile. Regardless of what it is, you have no chance of putting it in your hand. It just goes in the discard pile. And then that turn is over. So then I would start a new turn and I would get all those actions back. So I don't automatically draw cards again. Drawing is part of my learning action, so I have to choose to do a learn action in order to get cards back. So now we're on turn 2, and we might want to know, what does the mentor do? So what I would take a look at as I plan out my turn, you always want to know what your next quest card is, and sometimes the one after that. But the mentor says to give them a staves card of any value, and when I do, I can take the 1 of staves from underneath Eero and put it above his location. So in essence, the mentor is teaching the jester magic. Now I just happen to have saved a 13 of staves, and as much as I don't want to give up a 13, I do want to learn a bit about magic, so I'm going to give that to the mentor. So actually my first turn of this game, or this round, is going to be the encounter, because I can do these in any order with the exception of resting. So I give the mentor my 13 of staves, tuck it under her, she goes out of play, and that's the only encounter I can do for this turn. But I can still pursue my other actions. So all I have is a 5 of orbs. I cannot develop, I cannot recover. I could purchase, but it's usually not good to purchase if you have an empty hand. So I'm going to take the learn step now. I can draw up till I have 5 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I draw up till I have 5 cards. Now I don't have any of those magical 2 of blades. Oh, I forgot, but I do have my 1 of staves in place now. So let me just, here, I'll bring this down a bit so you can see the staves. Just lower my playing area just a tad. There you go. So 1 of staves. Keep in mind this is all prototypical art, so all these icons will become real card art, much like the Page of Orbs or the Knight of Blades here. They're all going to be real size tarot cards, but for now the iconography is there just so you have a playable version of the game. Okay, so I've already learned. I could forget, but I don't want to forget yet. I'd be interested in seeing what I could draw first. So what I could do, knowing that I have the 11 of orbs, which can actually recover a 2 card, 1 + 1 is 2, I'm going to purchase with my 2. So what I do is rotate that 90 degrees, look at the top 2 cards of my deck, see if there's one I'd like to put in my hand, which there is, and the other one would go on the bottom of my deck. So I know there's a 9 of staves on the bottom of my deck. Now, because I am drawing this card outside of the learn action, I'm actually allowed to play a bonus develop action, so I can put this directly onto my 1 of staves for free there. So now I've got the 1 and 2 of staves. All right. Now I do not have a 3 of staves, and I do not have a 2 of that. I do not have a 4 of that, so there's no other developing I can do. But I can do a recover action if I wish on my... So I'm going to remove the 2 from the 11 from the game to recover as one of my actions this turn. So I get that orb back. All right. I do have an opportunity to do the forget action, but I've already learned, so I don't know if that'll serve much purpose this turn. So what I could do is see what's going to happen next turn when I face the centaur. It says here, I'm going to give her a card of any type from one of my stacks in play. Then I search my deck and discard pile for any card of the same value to put in my hand. So, good chance I would want the 2, at least, of staves so that I can get that. So I could lose either my 2 of orbs or my 2 of cups or my 2 of staves to get that. Keeping in mind that if you don't have the next highest number, you won't be able to go any higher, so it'd be kind of silly to give my staves. But I could give my orbs or a cup, my health or my money. What's more important? I've already learned, I haven't forgotten. I think I'm just going to end this turn as it is. So again, when you end the turn, it's called rest. And so I flip over the top card and discard it. Now I start a new turn. So on this turn, I am going to give the centaur my 2 of cups. Even though I haven't been hurt yet, that'll come later in the game. I'm going to give her my 2 of cups. So what happens is I give that to her, she runs away with it, and then I can go through my deck or discard pile for any 2 value card. So I'm going to go find that 2 of blades. It's been elusive to me. There's a 3, so it's a good thing I'm shuffling up the deck anyway, because if I'm getting the 2, I would want the 3 to find its way to my hand. There's the 2 of blades. Put that in my hand. I shuffle these up. Now, because I found the Two of Blades outside of my learn action, I'm actually allowed to play it immediately as a bonus develop action. So I do still have a develop action this turn if I find a way to develop something. I am going to... I know the Dwarf King is next, so before I make any decisions, let's see here. The Dwarf King, what's he going to want me to do? He says I'm going to have to give him a blade card of any value. If it's an 11 or higher, I'll get him as an ally. So as much as I might want to forget this 12 and draw something else, I think I'm going to save it, and I'll just use a learn action to draw one card this turn. So learn, I found my 4 of staves. That's pretty useful. If I find that 3, we'll be learning magic like there's no tomorrow. So I'm not going to forget. I don't want to heal anything, so we're just going to rest again. When we rest, we take that card, put it in the discard pile, move on to the next turn. I want to face the Dwarf King, so I'm going to do what the Dwarf King says. It says I have to give him a blade card. If it's an 11 or higher, I put the Dwarf King in my ally area, so he's going to sit over here. And he'll be a one-time use card later in the game, but I do have to remove my blade card from the game. So later in the game, he can help combat in addition to my regular combat functions, which you'll learn once we face the Necromancer, who's the next encounter. So our next official encounter will be the Necromancer. That will be a combat, and so I want to think about that. Am I going to be able to defeat him? At this point, it's going to take 2 turns to defeat the Necromancer, me just knowing the game. I would like to attempt to learn first, because I have not learned yet this round, so I will learn. So I draw a card. Didn't learn anything important, so I'm going to use my 3. Even though I can't recover it, I do want to see what's in this deck, to look at the top 3 cards in my deck. Pick 1 to put in my hand. I'm going to grab that 3 of staves there. The other 2 go on the bottom of the deck. Now you can see here that 5 is unfortunate. I'm not going to be able to have that 5 for a long time. So I'm not going to bank on developing my magic any further for a while. At least I know that. Now, because I drew the 3 as a result of a non-learn action, because I purchased it, I can put it directly into play as a free develop. And now I can do my develop action to play my 4 of staves. So now we've got some magic. I've actually got more magical talent than I have blade talent. That mentor taught me well. Now, I haven't rested since I encountered the dwarf, so I'm not allowed to encounter the Necromancer right now. I've already learned. Looking at my hand, I think I am going to forget about the 7 right now. I don't think I need that. Deck is thinning out, so I got to be careful not to overdraw. And we'll start the next round. So we rest, take that top card, goes in the discard pile. And then we start a new round, have all of our actions back and available. And decide what we're going to do. So if you look at the Necromancer, it says here, you must defeat the Necromancer in combat, and when you do, you can search the discard pile for any card and place it in your hand. And you can look at your discard pile at any time. You can see I've got really nothing significant in here. But I do have a card that can heal my 3 of staves. So that might be good to use against the Necromancer, knowing that I'll be able to use it to revive it and use it again in the future. So I'll keep that in mind. When it comes to combat, there is a whole section on there for encounters and then another section about combat. So let's just dive into combat now because, well, I could learn first. I mean, it is a new round, and if I drew the 3 of blades, we'd be in pretty good position. So, and that way when I draw that, it doesn't affect my hand size anyway. So I'm going to learn, draw up to 5 cards. So I'll draw 2 cards. I didn't draw anything I can use this turn, so that's fine. Then we will encounter the Necromancer. So nothing in my hand that can be used right now. When we do a combat, what we do is the Necromancer always hits first, or the creature you're fighting always hits first, and it just so happens that Eero's not great in combat. I mean, he charges in, he's got best intentions, but these things are masters. They know what they're doing. They've been around for a long time. He's just a petty little goblin. So Necromancer strikes first, sicks some zombies upon him. They chew on his arm a little bit, and he's going to take 5 damage. So the value of the card is the damage that Eero is going to take. So Eero takes 5 damage. When Eero takes damage, it is done directly to his health card. And that's where we'll display these out and show you. Again, we've got the numbers 1 through 10 here. My 2 is in here somewhere, so if we draw it, I'll make sure to put it in. Actually, we'll pull it out now. Where is that 2? Forgot to put it in the deck. No, it's not there. Where is it? Sorry. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, it's got to be around somewhere. Oh, that's right. I gave away the 2. I gave that to the centaur. Got to remember these things. So I'm going to take 5 damage. Now I can take 5 damage directly on my 5 and just rotate that, or I could do my 4 and my 1. Now, it's more likely I'm going to find things that can heal a 4 and a 1 than a 5. But I also know I'm going to fight a succubus. Oh, she'll probably hit me for 6. So I'm just going to knock out the 4 and the 1. So I take 5 damage. I rotate those. That's permanent damage. I can't turn that until I find a way to heal it. And then it's my turn to do damage back to the Necromancer. Now, in order to kill the Necromancer, I have to deal 5 damage to him. Whether it's in the same turn or over the course of several turns of combat. If I don't do it to him all in one turn, then he's going to hit me again for 5, and then I'll hit back, and then he'll hit me again, and that'll continue until I've done enough damage to kill him. So, knowing that, and knowing that I can get this 12 out of my discard pile, I'm going to use my 3 of staves, so I'll rotate that, and my 2 of swords. I'm going to save the Dwarf King for later. So I'm going to do 5 damage to the Necromancer. That's enough to kill him. I learned enough magic and stabbery that I've taken him down. So he will disappear from play, but because of his ability, it says that when I defeat him, I can search the discard pile for any card, put it into my hand. So again, I don't see much use in some of these other cards right now. My values are still too low, so I'm going to take this 12 of staves, put it into my hand. So the combat is over. I've already done a learn session. I don't feel like forgetting right now, but I am going to do a recover action. So I'm going to use that 13, and I'm actually going to recover my 3. Okay. I could purchase now. Now, the thing is, I would want to know who I'm facing next. So if we take a look, I'm facing the succubus next. And when I, before the combat begins, I destroy 2 random cards from my hand. So I'm actually going to permanently lose 2 of these cards. And there is another decision point. Do I think I'm comfortable her destroying the higher ones that I might never grow into? Or am I worried she's going to destroy my 4 or 5 of blades and I'll never be able to build up my blades again? That's a tough decision here. So I'm actually going to try something odd. I'm going to forget all about my 4 and 5 and 5 of orbs. I'm going to forget them. And I don't have to learn. Actually, I already learned last. Oh, I can learn on my next turn, but I'm going to forget those. So 7 of 8 blades in my hands. I know they're there. I don't think I'm going to get to the point of developing them. I could risk it on my next turn and draw more cards, but then I might draw the 3 and 4 blades, and then I would really be frustrated. So we'll end the turn. At the end of the turn, I have to discard the top card of the deck. It's a 4 of orbs. That would have been nice to have. And then I'm on a new turn. I'm actually going to face the succubus now, knowing exactly what 2 cards she's going to throw away instead of randomizing it out of 5. So I face the succubus. She randomly gets rid of 2 cards and destroys them. I only have 2, so they get removed from the game. And then combat ensues. So she does 6 damage to me. I'm just going to rotate that 6. And now I have to do 6 damage to her in 1 hit, otherwise she's going to hit me again. She doesn't hit for cards ever again, but I do want to do some damage to her. So I could call upon the Dwarf King to help out, or I could just rely on my own powers. Now, I only have the ability to do 5 damage at once because you can only use 1 stave and 1 sword per combat. So I am going to call upon the Dwarf King to do 4 damage. He'll get removed from the game, and I'll use my 2 of blades. So that's 6 damage to kill the succubus and remove her from the game. Oh, 2 encounters gone. I know the paladin is not an encounter, but we'll show you what that is. I have no cards in my hand, and the paladin says when I encounter him, I have to give him a cup card from my hand, and then I can recover my 1 or 2 of health if I wish. So that's good to know. I have not done a learn action this turn. I can't fight the paladin or get the paladin support till next turn, so I'm going to use my learn action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Still haven't found my 3 of blades. I could do a recover action, throw that away to heal my 2 of blades. So that gets removed from the game. That is recovered. And so I've already learned for anything I want to forget. I don't really need this 9. Now the paladin's going to need a cup, so I'm going to try finding some more cards. And I know I can't get much higher on my blade, so I'm going to forget all 3 of those for this turn. I can't draw any more cards this turn because I've already done my learn action. Nothing to recover. I don't really feel like buying any cards this turn, so I'm going to pass the turn. I have to discard the top card of my deck. Then we're on to the next turn. I could try encountering the paladin, but I have nothing to give him right now, so I actually can't. So I'm going to use a learn action to draw back up to 5 cards. Let's see what I get. So we've got a 10, 6, 12 of orbs, 12 of cups, and 6 of blades. So now's a good time to encounter the paladin. So what happens when you encounter the paladin? I have to give him a cup from my hand, then set him aside, and then I can actually heal my 1 or 2 of cups. So I'm going to do that. Set the paladin aside with that. Find my 1 of cups, I think I have in here, and heal that. Just 1 point of damage back, but it's better than nothing. And I've already learned I could still purchase. Let's check out what the Valkyrie is going to do. She's going to ask me to give 2 cards of any type from my hand, and then I can look through my discard pile for same types of card to place in my hand. So let's take a look at my discard pile again. Is there anything in there I would actually want? That 4 of orbs would be handy. I could actually get the 4 and 5 of orbs by discarding the 10 and 12, because I don't have the 3 of blades yet, so getting the 4 of blades doesn't help me. Is there a 5 of staves in here? No, that's still in my deck, so there's no way I can develop my most important powers. So I could develop my orbs. Now, you might wonder, why would I care about those? And the reason is I know there's an encounter later in the game where orbs do matter. So I want to be building up for that. So she was just revealed. I cannot encounter her right now. I've already learned. So I'm not going to forget. I'm just going to end the turn, discard the top card of my deck. It's a 6 of staves, and move on to my next turn. So now I'm going to encounter her. I'm going to give her the 10 and 12 of orbs. So what it says here again, give her 2 cards of any type. So I can give her 2 cards of the same type, and then I can look through my discard pile and grab 2 cards of the same type, doesn't matter the value, and put them into my hands. So I'm going to grab the 4 and 5 of orbs. Now, if you remember from earlier in the game, I said anytime you get cards that are not a learn action, you get a bonus develop action. I have the 1, 2, 3 of orbs, and it doesn't matter that the 3 is used, I still have it, so I'm allowed to play the 4. And then because I have the 4, I've got the 5 in my hand. Now, if we double read the bonus action here, it says, anytime you get cards outside your learn action, you may immediately take 1 bonus develop action. So I actually can't play the second one as a bonus action. But now on my regular turn, I can play that as a regular action. So that's pretty cool. Got 2 cards left. We will want to know what the Druid does. The Druid says, while he's in play, you do not discard cards from the deck. So when I end my turn, I don't have to discard anything. But I do have to give him 3 cards from my hand in order to encounter him. So that's important to know. And I don't have many cards left in my deck. So So I'm going to end the turn. I don't have to flip over a card. Start a new turn, and I'm going to learn. No, I'm going to develop that, and then I'm going to learn, and I can draw as many cards as I want. So I'm allowed to learn up till 5. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, there's 4. So I've drawn up to 5 cards. And I still have deck left, so just not much. And I've already done a develop action, so I'm going to pass the turn. I don't have to discard a card. The Hermit just allows me to live some time in solitude, to think about what's ahead, and develop myself. So I'm going to develop there. And then I could learn one more time. That's useful. So then I could pass the turn, and then on my next turn I could learn again. Now I'm all out of things to learn. If I draw my last card, the game is over, because as soon as the deck is empty, the game's over, so I don't want to learn that last one. There's no other actions I need to take. I could do a recover action right now, and what that would do is it would allow me to rotate my 3. Or I can just choose to give him these, because I kind of want to keep my 6. So you know what? I'm going to hold on to my 6, and I'm going to encounter the Druid. I have to give him 3 cards. I know I'll never get these back. But he gave me some time to play around in his snowy mountain home. So we throw that away, and this is all that's left in my hand. Now, read the Deck of Fate. When the Deck of Fate is uncovered, end your turn. Shuffle your hand, which is my 6, your discard pile, which is here, and your draw pile. To reform the deck, then draw 5 cards and discard this card. So it's an automatic encounter. You have no control over that. So you kind of have to plan ahead when you're building up to the Druid. If you do it improperly, you're going to throw away the cards you were really, really hoping for. So when you are doing something like the Valkyrie or other cards before it, you want to make sure if you can either use them or know that you're going to lose them. So you could actually put bad cards in your hand from the Valkyrie in order to prepare for the Druid. Either way, we're drawing 5 cards. We're getting at a point where drawing cards is becoming detrimental. So you can see here, we've gone through most of the deck. That's what I have left, but that's okay. So we draw 5 cards. It's a whole new turn now because it refreshes your turn too. So I cannot use a bonus action from the Deck of Fate. But I can do a develop action. So I'm going to develop my blades. I can't throw my 6 on there because I already had that in my hand. And let's see what the Ranger has to offer. So we've gotten through the first 2-sided card. I'll get rid of that and we'll move on to the Ranger. The Ranger says you can give her any card valued 11 to 14, and then you can use that card anytime in the game to recover a used card in your play area, then discard it. So she is allowing you to have a free use of a card. So free use of a card. So again, recover any used card in your play area, then discard it. So that's a pretty potent power. She gives you a lot of strength one time, and that just happens to be the name of that card on the Major Arcana is Strength. She's got this owl bear teamed real well. So what do I want to give her? I think I can give her this 10 of staves. There's not much chance I'm going to get my staves all the way up to 10, and I can't use 10 as a bonus card, so I'm going to send that off to her. And I'll keep her over here so I don't forget that she will help me out later. So now I've recovered this turn, or sorry, I've encountered this turn, I've developed this turn. There's nothing I want to recover, because all I can recover is a 4 or less of blades. And so I can learn, or I can forget. I'm going to try to learn first. So 1, 2 cards I draw. Nothing I can develop as a bonus action, but I do have really high cup and orb cards, so those are going to be very useful in combat. I will end the turn. Now that the Druid is gone, I do have to discard at the end of a turn, so this goes in my discard pile, 9 of orbs. And now I'm facing the Assassin. Now the assassin is something that you want to plan ahead for if you want to break him easy instead of breaking him the hard way. Killing the assassin hand-to-hand combat is tough because he is a 12. But if you see here, you must defeat the assassin in combat or bribe him. To bribe him, you must pay him 12 orbs from your unused orb cards and destroy those cards. So rather than him coming and attacking you, you can be like, yo, assassin dude, I've got a couple of orbs in my pockets. How would you like some of those? And you go find someone else to stab. And the assassin will kindly oblige. So I happen to have built up my orbs. I know the game, and I know that that's an important part of it. So I'm going to give him my 6, 5, and 1, because you can play as many as you want to give him. So I give my 6, 5, and 1. That's a total of 11. Sorry, 12. The other thing I could have given is my 6, 4, and 2. So I give him all those, and he takes them and runs away with them. So the assassin has been taken care of through money instead of through combat. So I cannot face the Death Knight this turn. When I do face the Death Knight, he does damage in a special way. But I can develop this turn. So it's a new turn. I can develop. Nothing I want to recover right now. I've got a lot of the cards that I need in this game, so... but you know what? I'm going to orb anyway for 4. And the reason I'm going to do that is see if I can get the 6 of staves or the 7 of swords. So I get to orb for 4. And if there's a... Oh, I cheated here. I never did play that 4 of swords. I apologize. So I would have been holding those in my hands, and I'll just have to discard something. We'll say I would have discarded that orb there. So those will be in my hand. So now if I did this, I would definitely do that as my bonus action. And these would go on the bottom of my deck in any order. So I know I'm not going to be able to develop my staves anymore unless I really cycle through my deck. But we'll do it like that anyway. Sorry for the miss of the 4 there. You might have caught that when I was talking. So, okay, so that was my bonus develop action, which means I haven't used an actual develop action. So now I could do an actual develop action. I'm going to pass the turn. I cannot fight the Death Knight this turn anyway, so I have to discard a 7 of staves. And now I can do develop action again. Bring that up to 6. And 3 cards left in my hand. Only a few cards left in the deck, so I'm going to be careful there. I don't think I need to draw them. And I'm going to face the Death Knight. So the Death Knight is a creature you must battle. When you defeat the Death Knight in combat, you must defeat the Death Knight in combat. When you're dealt damage by him, you can also take the damage in cups, blades, and staves. So I don't have to take all the damage directly to my health, which is important because health is precious in this game. So I face him. He's going to do 13 damage to me right away. So when he does 13 damage, I'm going to take 2 of it right here in my orbs. So that's 2. I'll take 1 in my swords because I got lots of swords to choose from. So now that's 3 damage, and I'll take 10 on my cups. 13 damage. So I've got no orbs left, lots of health left. 13 damage I've taken. Now I get to fight him back. He's got 13. So can I do 13 all at once? The most I can do is 6 plus 5 is 11, unless there's a card in my hand I can throw. 11. What I can do, this is one of the special powers of these high-numbered cards, what we call the court cards in tarot. But numbers 11 through 14, you can use as one-time bonuses. You can use 1 stave and 1 blade per round of combat, in addition to your regular. So what it does is instead of recovering a blade, it's a bonus 4. So there's 4. And I want to do 13 damage, so 4. Nothing to heal there. So 4. We'll do 4 plus 5 is 9. Plus 4 is 13 damage total. So we take him out. 13 damage, 1 hit. The Death Knight goes down. It's not always that easy, but we happen to have the right cards to do it. Whew, tough combat. Fairies will be next. I can't encounter them this turn, but when I do, they're going to let me return 4 used cards of different types from my play area. And for each one I give away, I can take a card from the Warlock into my hand, so that's pretty cool. I'm going to... My 7 is in the discard pile, so I'm actually going to discard my 8. I'm going to forget, and then I'm going to learn for... I'll learn for 2, which actually means I can leave this 8 in my hand anyway. You don't have a hand limit in this game. Then I'm going to rest. When I rest, I have to discard a card. There goes my 9 of blades. And then I'm going to face the fairies. So with fairies, let me give them a card. I know I can never heal a 6 card, so I'm going to give her my 6 of cups. So fairies give the fairies up to 4 used cards. So I'll give them my 6 of cups, my 1 of blades, my 2 of orbs, and my 2 of staves. So I give her those 4 cards. It says I can give them up to 4 used cards of different types. For each one given, take a card from the Warlock into my hand. Now, thankfully, the Warlock, everything that I told him about in the earliest part of the game in the first turn, he now gives that knowledge back to me. Now he only has 3 cards to give me, so technically I only had to discard 3, but won't have much impact on the game. So actually it would on the staves, so I won't give him the staves card. So he gives those to me. None of those can be used for developing, but that's okay. What I can use one for is I can use those for other things. So I can now use my 13 of cups, my 4 of cups, to heal my 4 of cups, because 1 plus 3 is 4. So that's healed. And that is it for this turn. So I'm going to end the turn. I must discard a card and go on to my next turn. Too bad I discarded that 6 of staves. That's 1 more card I could have played. So I know I'll never develop my magic further. And I'll never develop my swords further, because the 7 of swords, I think, is gone too. Either that or it's hiding in these last couple of cards. But what I can do is recover. So I will recover my 5 of cups. If it's, oh no, it's not. So save that card. I can recover my 2 of staves instead. So recover my 2 of staves just in case I need it for the upcoming battles. Okay. Then I will rest. Now I can rest because I've got 1 card left in my deck, and I know that the next few encounters don't force me to discard. And you'll learn that when you play. But now we're on to the demon. So on my next turn, the demon says, you must defeat the demon in combat. You may discard a cup per combat round from your hand to prevent its value and damage to you. So that's good to know. Keeping in mind that these cards' values is 5, not 15. So I'm going to encounter the demon. The demon attacks me, does 15 damage to me. So we'll suck up 5 of it here. It says I can discard. I actually don't have to throw it away. So I'm going to take 10 damage instead of 15. So 10 damage. Will take damage to my 7 and my 3 this turn. And then I have to try to do 15 damage to him. In my hand, I've got no bonus, so I can do 4 plus 5. So 4 plus 5 is 9 damage. So I do 9 damage to him. He has 6 left. He attacks me again for 15. Ooh. So I take 15 damage. 8 plus 4 would be 12. 9 plus 5 plus 1. So I take 15 damage. I have no more cups to discard. I'm down to just 12 life. No bonuses. Then I attack him back. He's only got 6 left. I'm going to hit him with my 3 of staves and my 3 of staves. So take down the demon. Oh, that was tough. I'm down to just 2 cards left for health, and all of my resources are thinning out. So this is the time in the Goblin's Quest and Eero's Quest where everything looks grim. Like, he cannot save, he cannot defeat the dragon. How could he possibly do it? So he's got to go find some help. So let's see how we do that. We look at the Order of the Magi. The next card I encounter is going to destroy 3 cards at random from the discard pile. Then I'll gain that Magi as an ally, and I no longer lose the game if my deck runs out. So the power of those magic users will save me from running out of deck. I may not get more resources, but at least I won't die. And you can see there are 16, so they're going to be a 7 power ally, so that's pretty potent. But I can't see them yet. First I have to end my turn. Now, so that's where, just for the sake of finishing the game, we're going to go back a turn and say I never drew that card, knowing that I would have had to keep 1 card in my deck. So then I would end my turn, discard that, and then I would have 1 card left in my deck. So apologize for cheating on air, but I want to show you a game through to the finish. If I win or lose, we'll see. So now I'm going to encounter the Order of the Magi. It's going to discard or destroy 3 cards at random from my discard pile. So I'll shuffle up my discard pile, take 3 of them. I can see what they are and destroy them. So my 7, 9, 14. You might wonder why that matters. We'll see. And then the Order of the Blades becomes an ally, and I can't lose from running out of cards anymore. Or at least I don't discard cards after a turn anymore. So looking at my hand, not much I can do. I can use the Ranger to heal a card. But the Ranger, if we look back at the Ranger, says I can do that at any time in the game. So we're going to save her. We're going to go off to the Order of the Knights. So we'll say my turn ends, start a new turn. I don't have to discard. The Order of the Blades. Give the Order of Blades any number of used combat cards. When you enter combat, gain a bonus equal to the number of cards for your first attack. Ooh, so I give him 3 blades, which means he's going to give me +3 when we enter our next round of combat. So I'm going to stack that over here. We'll end the turn, start a new turn, and we're going to go reach out to the Order of the Shadows. I can take 1 unused orb card in play and put it into my ally stack. Ooh. Got a 4 and a 3. I gave a lot to the assassin. Oh, it says unused. So unfortunately the Order of Shadows are not going to help me. I must skip this encounter instead. They're like, what? You don't have any money? Okay, see you later. They're fair weather friends. End the turn, start a new turn. We go on to the Order of the Monks. You must develop a stack to complete this encounter. You may use any card type on any stack to do this. That card becomes that stack type. So you must develop a stack to complete this encounter. You may use any card type on that stack to do that. That card becomes... So what it's saying is I could develop my 5 with a 6 or my 6 with a 7 of orbs. I can treat this as a wild card. So that becomes a 7 of swords. Thank you, monks, for letting me see the light and knowing the way. Appreciate your help. So they go away. We go on, end my turn, start another turn. I can't draw that card. I have nothing to go through my discard pile, nothing to recover because I don't have a 1 of blades anymore. I can't do that anyway. So we'll move on to the Bard. Place the deck onto the discard pile, then search for any 1 card and place it into your hand. All right, so I get to go through any one of these. And this is my last chance to prepare for the dragon. Would I want to build up my magic? Would I want to build up some cups? I think doing an extra 6 damage to the dragon would be very, very helpful. But I only have 12 health, so I'm not even going to survive an attack. Not... Oh... We're going to take the 6 blades and see what the end comes to. So the Bard goes away, and we're off to the races, to the final battle with the dragon. The dragon. All right, we'll try to wrap up real quick here. Just referencing the dragon. When the dragon deals damage to you, You may use ally cards to take the damage instead, so that's important. Looking at the allies that I had, the dwarf is gone. And the dragon is immune to the 1/2 of staves and blades, so healing those actually was not much help to me. Okay, so let's wrap this up. The dragon's going to attack me. It's going to do 21 damage. 21 damage, I can take 17 of it to these guys instead of allowing for that 3 damage. So I'm going to thank the Order of the Knights for putting their lives before mine so that I could sneak in and slay the dragon, hopefully. So he kills 17 damage there. That guy is gone. The other 4 damage I'm going to have to take right there. So I take 4 damage. Now my chance. How much damage can I do? Well, I've got nothing in my hand. We've got 7 here. 7 plus 6 is 13. 13 plus 7 is 20. 20 damage I can do. 20 damage. Not quite enough to finish him off. I would have needed an 11 in my hand because a 10 is a develop card. It is not a other card. Combat. Yep, you may use a combat or magic card valued 11 to 14 as a bonus, not a 10. So I'm 1 point short. The dragon, you can see I could have defeated the dragon if I had had the right combination of cards, if I had had more health, or other things could have happened. But sadly, by 1 point, the dragon bites off my head. All hope for the world of Questeros is lost today. But you, maybe you will have more luck than I to take down the dragon in Questeros. The demon took a few shots at me too. He was pretty tough, but all right. So that's solo play. Still testing out a few things, trying to quirk a few mechanics. There was a chance that I was going to make the Paladin's card reusable in the future. Just double check that. Yeah, remove them from the game. So there's some things that I'm still playing with, but that's kind of how you'd play it through. Anyway, thank you for watching, and hopefully that helps you understand the mechanics and the explosion of play that would happen if you're playing the full solo mode. You can see there all the encounters that we went through and everything else that happened, everything that was thrown to the side. Take care.